What truly distinguishes success stories from stories you've never heard of is an extraordinary talent, its extraordinary opportunities. Malcolm Gladwell. Think of the Beatles, your favorite famous athlete, titans of business. If you were like most people, you would assume that these people are simply different. They are especially gifted with uncommon talent, drive, and determination that fuels their success. In Outliers, author Malcolm Gladwell makes a point that these assumptions are often wrong. Extraordinary results are a combination of crucial and sometimes seemingly superficial factors that are often overlooked. Let's first look at the myth of the self-made man. People who claim to be self-made are rarely that. They almost always have other factors that play into their success. Jeb Bush, when he ran for the governorship of Florida, called himself a self-made man. Yet in his family tree, he had 2 U.S. presidents, a wealthy Wall Street banker, and a U.S. senator. He was groomed for political life and had numerous advantages getting there. Another misconception is that innate qualities are the difference between the good and the great. Gladwell examines this by using the example of basketball players and lawyers. Being 6 feet 10 inches doesn't guarantee you will become a superstar in the NBA. Likewise, having a sky-high IQ doesn't automatically ensure success in the legal field. This is because certain qualities, like the height of a basketball player or intelligence of a lawyer, have a threshold of importance. If the average NBA player is 6 feet 10 inches, then being 7 foot won't help much. Those extra 2 inches don't factor much into overall success, especially if you compare it to somebody on the other end of the spectrum. Law schools often lower their barriers of entry for minorities under a policy of diversity and affirmative action. These students tend to perform slightly worse in law school, at a proportionate amount to the academic difference that was already there when they started. Yet, upon graduation, none of this matters. The difference between minority and non-minority students disappears and the salaries equal out, and they are just as likely to receive honors and make contributions to the legal world. Once you reach a certain threshold, the height for a basketball player, entry into a legal school, those factors cease to matter and other factors, including social skills, connections, and even luck, do make the difference. Now on to the 10,000-hour rule. This theory, popularized by Gladwell, states that hard work and hours of practice, 10,000 to be precise, dictates a person's chances of being extraordinary. In a study done of violinists, a large group of players was asked how many hours that they had spent practicing since they first picked up the instrument. The first group, players who were elementary music teachers and OK violinists, estimated that they had played about 4,000 hours. Good violinists, from studio musicians to players who had played in moderately successful bands and orchestras, averaged about 8,000 hours. The truly exceptional players, 10,000 hours. This pattern has been found to hold true in many different pursuits, from pianists to chess players to tech moguls. Not only was Bill Gates intelligent and had a knack for computers, but he also had access to computer programming labs from an early age. He was able to spend countless hours programming when others of similar talent or intelligence didn't have the time, resources, or the same opportunity. Before the Beatles' smash hits ever found their way to mainstream pop culture charts, they played hundreds if not thousands of gigs at small pubs and venues, perfecting their craft, chemistry, and their songs. Both Bill Gates and the Beatles had the talent to succeed. They also had the perfect opportunity and time to master their craft, while others couldn't for various reasons. The next factor is relative age. When you are 40, you're very similar in development to other 40-year-olds. But a 9-year-old that was born in January is much different than a 9-year-old born in December. At this age, where growth and development are so significant, 11 or 12 months is a significant difference. Canadian youth hockey leagues divide their age groups each January 1st. Kids who are born in January are bigger, stronger, and faster than kids born in December just because of development. This makes them more likely to get drafted to travel teams, get better coaching, and get scholarships that allow them to increase the skill gap that is only there because of the extra 12 months of life that they've had. This is a common occurrence in both sports leagues and schools, giving some kids an advantage simply based on their birth date. To make this more fair, Canadian hockey, schools, and other organizations that divide children by age could go by quarters rather than years. Think, how many potential Wayne Gretzkys or Albert Einsteins were left behind just because they were born late in the year? So far, we've talked about outliers leading to success, but what about the bad events like plane crashes? Just like Bill Gates had pieces fall into place perfectly to give him opportunities, pilots can have perfect storms of little problems that lead to tragedy. In the year 2000, Korean Air had a safety record 17 times worse than the industry average. This was, at least in little part, due to the Korean culture that dictates that one should always defer to their authority figures. In the setting of an aircraft, this means that if the pilot or first mate makes a bad decision, it could put the entire flight at risk, and it often did. Korean Air hired an American firm to fix these culturally driven communication errors. The result? Korean Air now has a safety record that is just as good as any other airline. It wasn't that they were using cheaper airplanes or had bad luck. A seemingly small communication nuance led to disastrous effects. Remember, what truly distinguishes success stories from the stories that you've never heard isn't extraordinary talent, it's extraordinary opportunities. No one person is an island. No one is self-made. Extraordinary success is a result of opportunities, lucky breaks, and occurrences that combine to create precise conditions that allow great achievements. If you enjoyed this summary, check out our videos on Malcolm Gladwell's books Talking to Strangers and The Tipping Point. If you have a book or article that you'd like to see us summarize, leave it in the comments below, and it may just be our next animation. And before you go, hit that thumbs up button to like this video and subscribe to our channel to get notified each week when we release a new book summary.